All right, we got some more people coming in, answer the questions. And then I'm gonna go ahead and close the poll so we can see our results and know with whom we're having the pleasure. All right, I'm gonna end the polling. So let's see. All right, we've got, so it looks like 22% are, the family member is between the ages of 19 and 25. The majority, 56%, are between the ages of 26 and 40. And in terms of regional center, it looks like most are West Side with North LA close behind. We also have some that are not regional center clients. And it looks like the #1 employment goal is supported employment with ongoing job coach. So I'll go ahead and share these results so everyone can see.
Supported employment with ongoing job coach.
So this is helpful to inform our conversation we're having today. All righty. So we've got a nice group of people. So Scott's asking, once this is recorded, where will there be access to it? So Alexandra, if you could introduce yourself and explain how we do the follow-up on these events.
Hi, I'm Alexandra. I do marketing and outreach at JLA. I also maintain the website as part of that. So we will, once we have the recording, we will post highlights from it on our website. And I will send out an email to all of you, everybody here, for sure this afternoon with the slides that you'll see. So you don't need to like take notes. Everything that's on the screen you'll get.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, I know that's always the #1 question. But then I wonder if people are like me, how often do you actually look at them? Sometimes I do, I'll be honest, and sometimes I don't. All righty.
Anybody goes back and fully reads them, but it's really nice if you're like, oh, I feel like there was something, and you can go back and look at that email and find it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And also the one thing I will say, I do end up sharing them like with other staff or with other people who weren't able to participate.
Yeah.
So it is great. We are recording this. So thank you all for joining us. I'm Michelle Wolf. I'm Executive Director of JLA Special Needs Trust and Services. We're not going to talk about our special needs services today. This is all about employment, because our most recent hire is the one and only Thalia Lira, who is an expert in the area of employment for people with disabilities. I do want to take 1 minute and show you our website, but I don't seem to have it up. Hang on one sec. I'm gonna get over to my website. And then I can share it. So here's our website over at jlatrust.org. And it explains about how our pool trusts work. Today we're doing the spotlight on jobs. But if you want to learn more, take a look at our website at the Learn down arrow, and it will take you through about why people with disabilities might need a special needs trust and how it can really give you a better life. So without much further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Thalia, who is our Director of Client Services, and we're so happy to have her as part of our team. She brings a lot of wonderful skills, and especially in the employment area. So Thalia, are you gonna share your screen? Or do you want me to open the PowerPoint?
Can you open it, please?
Yeah. Okay. Oops. I will go ahead and open that PowerPoint. So here we go from the beginning. Here we are.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. As Michelle mentioned, I have about 8 years of experience of employment for people with disabilities, intellectual and developmental, working with regional centers and Department of Rehabilitation. So thank you for joining us. And feel free to ask any questions if you guys have any in the chat room.
Yeah, please put your questions in the chat.
So this is the introduction to supportive employment. Today, we're going to be discussing competitive integrated employment, the attitude and perspective to consider, DOR, which is abbreviated for Department of Rehabilitation, potential barriers, alternative day programs such as employment-focused training programs, customized employment, day services, traditional day programs, and a description of what a job developer and a job coach does.
Okay.
So this is a hierarchy of pyramid of what the ideal goal of what an individual for disabilities would be. So it would be CIE, which is competitive integrated employment with minimal or no support. That would be more natural support. So it would be more of coworkers or supervisors instead of a job coach, or minimal job coaching support. Then there will be the supportive employment, which is more hands-on on job coaching support. Paid internship program, which we're also going to be discussing, that could be an alternative to pursue employment, full-time or part-time. Supportive employment group, work-focused day programs, ADC, which is Adult Developmental Centers, or VTS, which is Vocational Training Services. And there's also customized employment, tailored day services, or traditional day programs, and behavior management programs.
And Thalia, are all of these regional center programs?
Yes. Competitive integrated employment should be the expected outcome for people with developmental and other disabilities, developmental and intellectual disabilities. So what is competitive integrated employment? It is the full part-time employment for which an individual is paid minimum wage, excuse me, or greater in a setting with others who do not have disabilities. Individuals has the same opportunity for advancement. This is similar to those employees without disabilities.
And what about accommodations?
Yes, there could be a majority of the time there would be accommodations. A job coaching support is part of an accommodation. So it could be that, or it could be an adaptive device or any type of accommodation. So it would, the idea is that they would still be getting paid minimum wage or higher with an accommodation. Why competitive integrated employment? Is the National Council on Disability in 2012 site visits 7 states: Vermont, New York, Oregon, Washington, South Dakota, Louisiana, and Ohio. They found that people with disabilities want to work with real pay. Department of Justice files lawsuit, a class action lawsuit filed against the state in Oregon in 2012 for violation of the Ombudsman Act mandate to include integration not only in housing, but in employment as well. The complaint was unnecessarily segregation individuals with developmental disabilities in sheltered workshops when they could be served in integrated employment settings. DOJ investigation found that states to be violation of the American with Disabilities Act's some minimum wage 14C compliance, which is great news because I recently read that Biden is doing away with 14C. The Regional Center has been trying to work at this for a couple of years to transition individuals from workshops or work activity programs that pay minimum wage to either supportive employment or day programs or whatever is appropriate for that individual, or sometimes even retirement if it's appropriate for that person. So it's great news that we're getting rid of 14C compliance and some minimum wage. So,
Okay.
approach for the individual served to increase awareness through promoting CIE as a first option, by planning team if appropriate for the individual through education, training, and information to improve quality of life for the individual served, increasing employment-focused curriculums, providing alternative models to meet their individual needs, advocate for less restricted environments, and through the person-centered thinking and planning process. I highly suggest if anybody has regional center or they're planning on to advocate to get a person-centered thinking and planning with their service coordinator. It's more in hearing what the individual wants instead of what the environment wants or what the service coordinator wants, or even what family wants. They hear what the person served really wants and what type of job. There's so many times where I've had meetings with family and the family wants the individual to work at a specific place because they think it's the best option for them, but the individual doesn't want to work there. So in the end, they just quit or they'll get let go or they just don't have any motivation. So it just doesn't work out on both sides. So person-centered thinking and planning is really big. So I highly, highly suggest that.
And let me just add here, the person-centered planning is the first step in the self-determination. Self-determination right now is still in a first stage rollout, but it's going to be open to everybody coming in June. And I know I did it for my 26-year-old son. Ifunanya, who's on here from Jazz Hands for Autism, is going to talk when we're done. But that person-centered planning, like Thalia is saying, that becomes the foundation for everything else. So rather than just starting with, okay, where can I find a job? We take a step back and say, what are the person's strengths? What are their preferences? You know, what really makes them, you know, like Thalia was saying, motivated.
Yeah. Another option that some vendors might offer, I know in the past I had offered it, is path plans. And it's pretty much self-explanatory. It's just a path plan where the individual wants to pursue with employment or in general in life. Department of Rehabilitation and DOR is a state agency established to provide vocational rehabilitation services, such as job placement, training, and job preparation to those with disabilities. Individuals could seek DOR services by applying in person, online, or be referred by the school district, regional center, or other entities. DOR develops individual plans for the employment development, which is an IEP, for those that have been identified as able to meet CIE, or that could also be for supportive employment with job coaching support. DOR is generic resource and should be the first option when referring individuals for employment services regarding job development, placement, and job coaching. I have seen cases where if they are not, they don't qualify DOR, but they are qualified for regional center, the regional center must take over that funding for job development and job coaching. So nobody should be denied of that.
Welcome. We have some people joining us. Come on in. We're in the middle of our PowerPoint presentation. Did it move? Let me see. Why it seems like there. Is that the next one? Yeah.
I
Or
think
did I
so.
skip one?
Mm,
Yeah. Okay, that's the next one.
Okay. Supported employment programs, SCP, is a service primarily initially funded by DOR, then transitioned to regional center funding. The goal is for the supportive employment services to help the individual find competitive work in an integrated work setting. DOR and regional center provide support services through job coaching to help individuals learn necessary skills and behaviors to work independently and maintain employment. As an individual gains mastery of the job, the support services are gradually phased out, approximately 20% per month for 3 to 6 months, then transition to the regional center for long-term funding and 20% job coaching. This is what it's typically the percentage, but I have seen different percentages. Usually the Department of Rehabilitation will ask the vendor that is providing that support to do a projected timeline. a lot of times, as my former employment, there was times where I couldn't project it exactly, so it could change. So it doesn't have to be set in stone. The DOR would like for it to be set in stone, but things happen. So it could sometimes be 3 months of 30%, or but usually they don't do more than 6 months. And then by the 6th month, it should be at 20%. So it has to be 2 consecutive months of 20% to transition from regional center to DOR. If it's not a 20% or lower of intervention, then it cannot be transitioned to DOR until they show that they're stabilized. Or it could be 3 consecutive months of 30%. So just for you guys to be aware of that. A lot of times DOR wants to transition to not fund it anymore, but it wouldn't be stabilizing for the individual.
And Thalia, who has the final word here? Is it the California Department of Rehabilitation, or is it the regional center?
So a lot of times regional center would not accept it if it's not what I explained, the 2 consecutive months of 20. So regional center has the last say, because they will not accept it until they have those 2 consecutive months of 20% or 3 consecutive months of 30%.
Why is it frozen? Here we go.
Okay. I think someone had a question. I could read it all out. Would it be possible to create a chart or timeline with the agency money and percentage, your reference? Yes, so this is the vendor's job to do. So the vendor would be putting the percentage per month for 6 months. And then the money, that's the Department of Rehabilitation. So usually they do not like to pass more than 10,000 unless, and if it does, then they will have to get approval from their supervisor. It takes a little longer, but it's doable. So to answer your question, it's yes, $10,000 for those 6 months for the funding for the job coach.
$10,000, who's paying that?
The $10,000 is to fund for the job coaching support, so the accommodation. And Department of Rehabilitation is paying for that until it transitions to regional center.
Okay.
But it could exceed 10,000, but it just takes a little longer because they need the counselor's supervisor's approval.
So on the question about the timeline, we might be able to create kind of a generic timeline. You know,
Yeah.
in an ideal world, right? We could create we don't have that right now.
Yeah.
But that sounds like something we could.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the dollar amount, but it could be the timeline, and then the support for the job coach. And again, this is for funding for the job coaching, not for the salary of the individual working. That we're assuming at this point that the individual already has a job, a paid job. Okay. So this is how it works with referral process from DOR to SCPs. The IPP team, the service coordinator, will refer the DOR by submitting the DS 1968 with supporting documents. The DOR evaluation clients for employment readiness. DOR evaluates clients. Sorry, I repeated myself there. DOR will refer clients to appropriate vendors or back to the SC if the client is not ready for competitive integrated employment. Or the SC could refer the client directly to DOR SCP vendor, or the service coordinator could complete and submits the DS 1968 and supporting documents to DOR with the vendor of choice, or to the vendor to request eligibility or funding through Department of Rehabilitation. Vendor and DOR would coordinate funding of services. Once stable, DOR funding transitions to Regional Center for long-term funding of support. If no transition is required, the case is closed.
So everyone, SC is a service coordinator. So I know this is a real point of tension, because I think the regional center service coordinators will often say to families, you guys contact the Department of Rehab. And then the Department of Rehab doesn't respond, or the Department of Rehab says, have your service coordinator contact me. So Talia, do you have any suggestions for
Yeah.
dealing with that runaround?
Yes, I have it in one of the sites, but I could talk about it right now. So one of the things that the service coordinator at the regional center has to get involved because they have to get a referral, which is in 1968. So without that referral, the case cannot be opened with Department of Rehabilitation. So what I've had to do in the past is either contacting the service coordinator. If not, then I just go and talk to either their supervisor, or also every regional center has a consumer advocate, and you could express your concerns with the consumer advocate, and then they would relay that to the service coordinator or to the service coordinator's manager.
Very good. And I think, and I'm not positive about this, but I think under self-determination, it should be a little bit easier to just be able to get supported employment, probably directly through a vendor.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know why the slide keeps, there we are. Barriers, yeah.
Okay, so here are some barriers to consider. The job readiness, motivation, grooming, time management, soft skills, and interests. Also transportation, could they drive or use public transportation? Can they, or are they willing to learn? Or if they could also take the bus, it doesn't have to be a car exactly, or a vehicle. Health, medical conditions, benefits, and what will happen to their SSI, SSCI, Medi-Cal, or Medicare.
And just a note on the SSI, what they say is, if you work and you have SSI, you always come out ahead. So what that means is you might lose some of your SSI monthly cash check, but you'll make it up through your paid employment. And you only need to have $50 a month of SSI in order to keep that categorically linked Medi-Cal.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Okay, so these are, if the individual is not ready, or or they need to go to an employment focused, customized, or tailored day program to prepare them for employment, these are some of the alternatives. The program option is available to individuals who are 18 years or older, who have graduated or received a high school diploma, or have completed the Adult Transition Program, ATP, for their local school district, and they received certification on completion at 22 years old, are now eligible for generic resources, like such as DOR or through the school district. And a lot of the times for the ATP program with the school district, because they're already enhancing them for work skills, I've seen a lot of the times they get employment through the school district as well. So if your school district does offer the ATP program, that is a good way of enhancing employment skills while they're in school and with that support, so they could be ready in the world when they graduate at 22.
Great.
Okay, employment focused programs. These are some of the options. It's paid internship program. The PIP is a purpose of the program is to increase the vocational skills and abilities of individuals who choose via individual program plans, the IPP. The process to participate in the internship, goals of program to experience and skills for future paid employment, or to lead to a full-time or part-time employment in the same job or field. The maximum funding is $10,400, or a duration of a year, whichever is reached first per client. In my experience, PIP is a really good resource to use because it's very beneficial for the employer and for the individual, because they could see if it's a good fit. The individual could see if this is something that they would like to pursue, and not be committed to it in the long run as an employee, but as an intern. And then also the employer could see if this is a good fit to hire this person on permanently. And so there's no really commitment at this point. What I've done in the past is to not exhaust the 10,400, because there has been some employers where like, oh, free money, I'll just keep them until I can, until I reach the 10,400 without paying them and with no intentions of hiring them for the long run. So what I have done in the past is I give the employer about a month or two so they could decide, depending if they're working full-time or part-time, so they won't exhaust the 10,400, and then they could try the internship with another employer. So that's something, if you do have, if the person does decide to do PIP, to ensure that they don't exhaust that money.
You see the question, Thalia?
Yes, I do. So how do you start PIP, and does the employer initially initiate this, or the SC? So the PIP is through regional center. And the employer, so usually the vendor, the supportive employment vendor would be the one initiating that. The job developer would be the one in contacting that person, the employer. Or sometimes, a lot of times, it could be a family friend. Then you could ask the service coordinator to contact the vendor, and then they agree, because the vendor has to be the payee of record, which I'm going to be sharing. Let me see, would you please elaborate?
Did I skip one?
Oh no, Michelle, this is for you. This question is for you.
Okay. I don't have my chat open because I have a lot of other screens open. Would you please elaborate preserving the Medi-Cal, Medicare benefits? You said something about keeping $50. Yeah, so where you want to keep at least $50 is with your SSI. Because all you need actually is $1 of SSI, and then you get that automatic linkage to categorical Medi-Cal. And it's that good kind of Medi-Cal without the copay. SSDI, I think there's some upper income limits with SSDI, but I don't know what they are offhand. But I think you can earn a pretty good amount and still be on SSDI. I think it's about $1,200 a month. All right, let's jump back in.
And then just going back with the paid internship program, that is through Regional Center, but Department of Rehabilitation has something similar. It is a little more complex. It's OJTs, on the job training. So the difference between PIP and OJT is that the PIP, the vendor would be the payee on record, and then on OJT, it would be the employer on record, and then DOR would be reimbursing the employer. In a lot of cases, the employer doesn't like that, so it's not a good route. So a lot of families do try to use PIP if they do have regional center services. So it's just a note to keep for the future. Okay. This is another type of program. It's customized employment, so tailored day services, TDS, a voucher community-based training program, or VCBT, instead of any other regional center vendor day program, a lookalike day program for SCP programs. Allows a customization of day services, including but not limited to college support, such as navigating post-secondary education system, as well as employment skills of development, training, and job expectations to meet the individual needs. Both TDS and VCBT have specific services requirements and maximum hours that could be provided. Employment Facilitation Training Services Program. So typically, the regional center would not approve more than 20 hours per week with these two programs, TDS and VCBT, on employment. So usually the vendor would spread out that time for the individual to get the training necessary. So it could be from transportation, how to use the bus, how to use nowadays Uber or Lyft to get to and from work, or it could be soft skills. It could be anything that they need to enhance to be ready for the workforce. Employment Facilitation Training Services Program is EFTS, a flexible band of strategies, services, and support designed to increase employment opportunities through the assessment, discovery, and job matching process. Appropriate for individuals who have a degree or vocational certificate and are interested in competitive employment in a particular job field. Once a job match is achieved, the case is transitioned to DOR for coaching services and stabilization.
And with all of these programs, is this something that should be discussed in the IPP, the individual program planning meeting?
Most definitely. So once the path plan or the person-centered meeting is done, then these are in the programs that should be discussed and what's appropriate for the individual. The goal should always be CIE, but if they're not ready, then these are other alternative programs that they could prepare them to reach the goal of CIE in the end. So it would probably be a ladder from here to maybe from TDS, it could be supportive employment in a group or individual, and then CIE and so on. Let's see, I have a question. With the PIP, does employer pay and get reimbursed, or does regional center PIP pay? So with PIP, let me see, let me try to remember correctly. So the vendor, so the job coaching vendor is the one that pays the client. So they're on their payee of record, and regional center reimburses the vendor. Does that make sense?
All right, should we go back to the slideshow? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and I double checked on how much you can earn on SSDI for 2021, and it is $1,300 a month. So if you're on SSDI, you can earn up to $1,300 a month without impacting your SSDI. Are there any more slides, Thalia?
Yeah, there should
Okay, I
be.
think I'm stuck. So just 1 second. I'll go out and I'll come back in, and then I'll share again. Let's see. Oh, here, I think this is, did you cover traditional day services? No, that's what's next. Yep. Okay. Hang on, everybody. Here we are. Okay.
Okay. So traditional day services, so adult development day programs, they're license-centered based and community-based, may be time limited, focus on development and maintenance of functional skills required for self-advocacy, community integration, self-care, pre-employment skills for traditional to SCP from SCP to CIE. Competitive-based adult services, CBAS, is focused on therapeutic, social, and skilled nursing health activities provided to the elderly person or adult with developmental disabilities with functional impairments, physical and mental, for the purpose of restoring and maintaining optimal capacity for self-care. The next option could be a behavioral management program, BMP, service adults with behavioral challenges who require support from staff with behavioral expertise, focus on decreasing behaviors which may be a barrier to socialization, communication, integrated in the community and employment.
Okay. And again, all these should be options that are discussed in the person-centered planning or IPP.
Yeah, these are all different options that could be discussed. Again, what is appropriate to the individual. So a job developer is, these are the responsibilities of a job developer. So a job developer is a person that helps the individual with disability or looking for employment. So they are the ones connecting with the community, connecting with employers, also sharing incentives to employers to hire people with disability. There's so many incentives to employers that they're not aware of. And once they do, once they are educated, they take advantage of it. So that's how we're able to build relationships with employers once they know incentives. So this is just a list of things that job developers should be doing. And helping employers to develop employment opportunities for clients with disabilities, research and maintain current job listings, and develops resources for clients to identify current jobs opening related to their identified career goals, plans marketing and outreach services to promote employer awareness of potential qualified employees with disabilities, serves as an advocate and liaison for clients with disabilities, utilizing employer incentives designed to help applicants with disabilities, devises clients on how to request disability accommodations in the workplace, advises clients with disabilities on job search techniques, including interviewing strategies, resume writing, cover letters development, and networking. Collaborates with DOR counselors to assist clients with achieving goals established by DOR, works with clients and employers to identify job accommodations and solutions to employment barriers, ensures that required programs data is properly maintained and reported, gathers and analyzes and maintains data and strategic information to evaluate effectiveness of the service and to identify goals to meet clients and program needs, accompanies the client to interviews and facilitates Job Club. Job Club is a club where all the individuals that are searching for work, they're using writing skills and interview skills, mocking interviews and such. Let's see, we have a question. Does the regional center have any programs designed to employ their clients directly to do work for the regional center? Unfortunately, this is something that a lot of vendors have been telling regional center to do. They do not have programs. They do employ from time to time. I have seen individuals get hired through the regional center, but it's maybe like one or two. But we've been asking them to be the example if they want the a society to hire people with disabilities for them to be an example, but they have not yet to do so, from my knowledge.
Okay, we'll jump back into Job Coach, and then we're almost done with our slides.
Okay. A job coach devises and plans, implements job coaching strategies, assists clients' wants and needs, provides help and guidance to the clients who are facing difficulty, professional challenges, notices clients' strengths and instructions, instructs them to how to make the best out of their strengths, provides assistance and guidance to clients who need help with the everyday work activities or some new task, discovers clients' motivations and helps develop their skills, present and teach job searching skills and techniques, counsels clients on fine-tuning work habits, skills, and preparation for competitive employment, keeps track, oversees, documents clients' progress, updates employees' records, creates and presents reports for senior management, that's for the vendor of the program, constantly communicates with the employer or manager, or hopes a positive work environment, and advocates for the client served.
And is that job coach from the vendor or is it from the service coordinator side?
No, it's through the job coach is through the vendor. There's no job coaching in with the service coordinators. I know that there are companies that do not allow job coaching, but they hire their own coaching within the company. I believe FedEx and Amazon is one of the companies that they don't allow job coaching, but they have their own, they hire their own job coaching within. Usually they have to accommodate for job coaching. So it's part of the ADA Act. So they cannot discriminate against that. But if they prefer to hire on their own job coach within the company instead of having an outsider, then that's perfectly fine too.
Very good.
I'm so sorry about my dogs. I can repeat anything that you guys need me to repeat.
We gotta hire a dog wrangler, right? Who can wrangle them up.
Yes.
All right, so I think we're just at the end at the presentation, and there's my email, and then Talia's email is there, TLIRA@jlatrust.org. And we can do employment consultations for $90 an hour. I wish I could offer it for free, but I don't have any grants and I don't have any specific funding yet for employment like assessment or person-centered planning. But that is something we could provide on a one-to-one basis. And then before we go any further, I did want to introduce Ifunanya from Jazz Hands for Autism. And hang on one sec, let me grab your bio. Here we go. Ifunanya is the founder and executive director of an innovative 501c3 nonprofit called Jazz Hands for Autism, a post-secondary educational and vocational program designed to help adults on the autism spectrum turn their musical talents into a career in the industry. It has a BA from UCLA, a master's in nonprofit leadership and management from USC, Fight On, trained ABA, and she's currently working on her doctorate. Very impressive. And I can speak personally to her wonderful services. So take it away. You have to unmute, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Hi, everybody. Good morning. My name is Ifunanya. Thank you for that introduction, Michelle. Hope you guys are all doing well, given the year and that we've had. So hopefully you guys are doing well. So I won't take too much of your time. I just want to tell you guys a little bit about Jazz Hands. So as Michelle mentioned, we are a post-secondary educational program, but we call ourselves a talent advocacy group. And I do want to mention that we are vendored with 5 regional centers. So Franklin Lanterman, South Central, North LA, West Side, and Harbor Regional Center, and soon to be also East LA. And we have also has some authorizations from DOR in the past. And we work primarily with musicians who are on the autism spectrum, but who are adults, so 18 and over. And so some things that we offer at Jazz Hands are, one, we have our concert series. So if any of you work with or know any young adults or adults who have autism that are musically inclined, play an instrument, sing, we have a concert where we can provide a performance platform for them to express their talents. In addition to that, we also provide individualized music education. So we have over 50 courses that we offer, including instrument training, voice training, music production. It really runs the gamut. And new courses can also be added on requests. In addition to that, we also offer vocational training. So we also offer like work readiness training, social learning training. We have a career coach and a career counselor that works with our students and our musicians in order to map out their career, help them gain the skills that they need, and then help them get into that position. And so that means we also provide work scouting and placement. So we help connect our musicians to opportunities by helping them find opportunities, and also help teaching them how to find opportunities on their own as well. We have a database of different opportunities that our job placement coordinator curates and maintains. In addition to that, we also have partnerships with different entities like schools, so we can offer music-based internships and also offer on-the-job coaching as well. Some of our partners include, the city of Culver City, Kane Era Center, and some of our musicians have performed for people like the former mayor of LA. And lastly, we also help our musicians put together their original projects. So if you know somebody who's interested in putting together an album or an EP or something like that, we help them put it together and help them promote it as well. So in a nutshell, we are a wraparound creative employment preparation organization that's for adults who have additional support needs. And so that's essentially what we do. If you have any questions in regards to that, please feel free to email me. I'll leave my email in the chat. And if you're wondering if we have programs for kids, we actually are developing a program for kids as well. So email me more about that. I can add you up to our mailing list, and you can stay up to date with that. So hopefully that answered your question. I talk really fast, so if you need me to repeat anything, let me know.
Thanks so much. That was Thanks so much. That was terrific. And we apologize for the background sounds. We're all working from home and doing the best we can under, difficult situations. Um, and then somebody asked about a one-on-one. Yeah, go ahead, Carolyn, and shoot us an email and we'll see if we can help. So we're not, JLA is still our core mission is the pool trust. We are adding some other services as we move forward, but employment is not going to ever be a major service. It's going to be, we're just kind of responding to community need and trying to provide some one-on-one assistance. But I don't see us, getting that fully into actually, job coaching or job development. There's enough other agencies out there who can handle that. Any other questions? All righty. So next month, we are going to be having a session on CalAble. For those of you who aren't familiar with CalAble, it's a tax advantaged way to save money for someone who has a disability. And especially for people with disabilities who are working, it's just a terrific way to be able, you could put your salary into your CalAble account and not get dinged with your SSI or your Medi-Cal. Alexandra, you wanna?
Yeah, let me open our calendar. I just want to show you guys how to access our future events because we do community events like this. Right now, they're all on Zoom for obvious reasons. In normal times, we do some of them at our office. We actually did all of them at our office, and now I think we'll probably transition to doing both. So again, this is our website, jlatrust.org. And if you go under Learn, you can go to our events. And that'll pull up the calendar. Our next two events, we have the CalAble event, which is February
11th.
Yes, it's February 11th. And then, and so that's right here, spotlight on CalAble, if you think that would be beneficial to you or someone you work with or your child or family member. It's a really good program and we have someone speaking who works for them. So they're gonna give you like a full rundown. And then in March, on March 11th, we're gonna do our Intro to Government Benefits and Special Needs Trusts, and that'll be Michelle. And she's, the expert on how to navigate that and how to set up a good system for your family. So we have a lot of really good information and we hope to see you at future presentations.
Thank you. All righty. So we will be sending out the slides and also the recording. And I think for me, I learned a lot. This is not an area I have much expertise in. And I think the most important thing is that regional center clients and their families need to know all those different options that were presented in that first pyramid so that you know what to ask for. I mean, unfortunately, with the regional center, if you don't ask for it, you won't get it. It's a little bit of a game, because the regional center says, well, what do you need? And the family says, well, what do you got? Well, what do you need? What do you got? What do you need? What do you got? So that's why I think the more clients, consumers of regional center and their families come in saying, I really want to try the PIP, the internship. And how do I get connected with the internship? That gives you so much more knowledge and a step up on other people. And I think that's the more you can inform yourself, the better services you'll be able to receive. And also, I do encourage everyone to check out the new self-determination program that's going to open up to everyone in June, because you'll have a lot more freedom and flexibility to go use an employment vendor or to hire a specific person as a job coach. So I think that's it. Thanks everybody for attending. And I hope to see everybody next month for Cal Able.